Hey, welcome back to From the Roots Up, the podcast where we follow Hickory FC match by match, trophy by trophy, this incredible journey that we've been on. What a ride it's been. Before we get started, of course, I got to thank our sponsors. I got to thank my man Lenny behind the camera, as always. Chris Vondrell, who does all the graphics and everything that you see. Jeremy at Barley Market that allows us to use his space. I've got to start thanking Jay Brown since we've been able to utilize his space as well. So thanks to all those that really make this podcast what it is, and we appreciate those guys for sure.
Yeah, today we've got a very special guest, one of our most reliable defenders. I will now call him a Hickory local legend and Lenore Rhine standout, the man behind the incredible assist in the national championship match. But as always, I got to leave it to Gavin with the expertise naming to introduce him formally.
Well, I'm very excited, and we've been trying to get him for a while now, and I'm super excited to welcome the Welsh wizard himself, Mr. Harri Rowe. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So let's kind of start way back at the beginning of your football journey. One of the coolest reasons about having Harri on here is he's had a really unique experience playing for different teams, both inside and outside the U.S. So let's kind of start a little bit back. Before you talked about your experience in the Welsh Premier League. Sounds like that was kind of the beginning of your journey. Talk about how that all started and how did that opportunity arise and what was it like?
Yeah, so that was my first taste of men's football, if you like, was senior football. So I went out on loan from the team that I was currently with when I was 16. So I wasn't getting any game time there. I was just sitting on the bench, just doing the warm up, getting experience through doing that. So then I went out on loan to a team in the second division in Wales. I stayed there for half a season because I went in the January transfer window. I ended up staying there and signing for that club the next season. And we then achieved promotion to it's called the Welsh Premier League, or the Cymru Premier in Welsh. So then I actually transferred back to my hometown team then, which was a good experience. I did about half a season there. I didn't get as much playing time as I'd like to, and that actually brought up the topic of America initially for me and coming to America.
So this is like, again, one of the big differences between the U.S. and Europe. Like right when he said 16, I'm like, oh shoot. Like when I was 16, I'm like still like trying to not fail algebra class. So like what's that like experience like, and how does that all like come about? Do you play for local clubs? Do you get tryouts? Like how did you end up there at 16?
So I ended up there. So the manager of my hometown team, Aberystwyth, a bit of a mouthful to say that. So there was a manager there previously, and he left. He went and joined another team, and I often used to train with the first team. I played for the U19s, and he spotted me or saw me through that. Really, he rated me as a player. He saw that I wasn't getting game time with the team when he was at his new team, albeit it was a division below, still a very competitive league. And he said, why don't you come and give it a go down here? You're going to play, you're going to get minutes. It's what you need at this age. So I benefited the team and it benefited me. So it was a good decision at the time. And I'm still thankful to that manager to this day.
That's awesome. Are you still in contact with him?
Yeah, every now and then, we don't text, but I'll see him reply to a tweet. For example, I scored for a few goals for Lenore Rhine in my time, and he'll comment under one of them. So yes,
that's cool.
I see that he tracks what I'm doing.
That's awesome. It's still crazy to me because I don't know. It's such a different, like that seems so professional almost for like being so young. We're here. I feel like it's a little. I mean, we do have some academies, but like between the college system and everything, it's very different. And I don't know. I always wonder, like with the progression of soccer in America, like do we just not have a system that's built for it or what? So it's also just so like unique to us. Like like I grew up with like you played for like local teams. If you were good, there were like some academy type things, but like it's so interesting. It seems so like professional, and like is that like normal? Is it like oh, if you're like kind of better in your like Sunday league, you try out for an academy? Like how does it work there if you're playing?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring it up because I saw a post, I think it was on LinkedIn or Twitter the other day, saying that America are the ones who have it right versus Europe, or I can only speak for the UK, but it was basically saying that in the UK you make it or you don't make it. At 18 you get a professional contract or you don't, and then you decide if you want to carry on playing. You go non-league, and quite often the players who don't get that professional contract at 18, 19, 20 end up playing at a very low level, or they just give up altogether. Whereas if you're not at that level at 18 to go professional in America, you have a different pathway, which is college, where you are training like a professional anyway. You're training day in, day out. You've got your physios, your strength and conditioning coaches. Everything is so professional, and you have 4 years of that. And I think it leaves you in a much better place to go pro or play at the highest level you can at 22, 23, 24. Than if at 18 you kind of almost not give up, but you think, I've not been given that contract, so I'm not going to make it. Whereas this gives you an alternative route, which is why I think a lot of people like myself end up coming over here.
Yeah, and that kind of segues into the next question. Like, so playing in the Welsh league, like how did the opportunity arise? Like, what brought you over here?
So I represented it's called the Welsh Schoolboys. So out of all the schools in out of all the schools in Wales, it's kind of like an old-fashioned term. Out of all the schools, you have a select 18 who go and play teams like England, Ireland, Scotland. We actually played Australia once. So initially, when I played for them, we had a company come and do a presentation to us on coming to America, why we should come to America, why we should go with their company, and I'd never even knew it was an avenue that I could go down, or something that would interest me. And I kind of got interested by the conversations, the presentation that they gave us. I ended up speaking to them. And in the end, I thought, this is too expensive. This is like a money-grabbing thing to go through this company anyway. And I kind of left it at that, put it in the back of my mind, and I just went about my stuff. And I got a job after I left school. I worked at that job. I played semi-professionally, and it was actually during COVID. I wasn't playing so much in the top league in Wales, so I left my team, and it kind of gave me a little bit of time to think about what I want to do, because I made the choice not to go to university in the UK. So I started thinking about that, and it was actually a day in the life video of one of my good friends, Harri Rowe, at Chowan University. He did a day in the life video, and I thought, whoa, that looks like a bit of me. That looks like something I would be interested in doing. I wasn't particularly happy with what I was doing at the time, and I thought, yeah, I'll give that a go. So I told my mum and dad. I was like, I think I'm gonna go to America. I think I'm gonna go and play football in America. And this is coming off the back of a few things that I told my mum and dad. They go, oh yeah, and then next week I'm doing something different. So I think they kind of just dismissed it. And I ended up reaching out to one of my friends who I knew had been to America, asked if I could get in touch with his agent. He gave me his contact details. I sent him a few videos. He said, yeah, I can get you somewhere. And then within a few weeks, I had a few offers. LR was Llanwrine, where I went, was one of the first offers I had, and I was pretty sold on coming here after I spoke to the coach. So that's how I ended up coming to America.
So if I can, when you see, I'm sure you saw probably a video of Llanwrine. I don't know if you saw like Hickory in general, but like if you did, like what was the main, I don't know, being from Wales, like what was the difference in seeing Hickory or a school in America versus like what you would have been involved with in Wales or gone, like the school you would have gone to?
I mean, if I went to school in the UK, it would have been, I would have gone to a big university in a big city, like similar to Charlotte, for example. But Hickory is very similar to my hometown. It's not got too many people in it. It's very local. Everyone knows everyone. So yeah, I'd say that's the main thing. I would have gone to a larger area had I gone to university in the UK. So that would probably be the biggest difference.
Now, talk about your time at LR. I know we were kind of briefly touched a little bit off camera about some of the success you had, especially early on in some of those early tournaments where you guys made it really far. What were those early years like playing for them?
Yeah, it was different, very different from back home, especially, like I say, in terms of you're training every day, you're in the gym every other day, you have all this nutritional advice, stuff that I'd never even heard of before coming here. You have your pre-game scout, analysing the opponent, analysing your own game, and that was something that was new to me and something that I think's helped me a great deal. And I would also say the physicality side, I think playing in the Welsh leagues or in Britain has prepared me well for coming to America, because I would say, college leagues are quite well known for being very physical in America. You got to run a lot, you've got to tackle a lot, you've got to tackle hard. You have games every 3-4 days, which is actually, that is one of the biggest things I would say. One of the things that shocked me most is that you play Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while for my body to really adjust to that. When you get used to play Saturday, train once or twice a week on a Tuesday, Thursday evening, and then you play Saturday again, it's just a complete different load for your body to go through. So yeah, it was a big transition at the beginning, but one that I think I fit well into and I managed quite well.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by it because we were talking to Guy about it, and I always think it's interesting. Mind you, take this in the context of like, not only is it like practices 3 games a week, but like this is also like a full-time college schedule too. Like I remember, I mean, you're not by any means like insanely busy 80-hour work week in college, but you still got a lot going on. You've got classes, you've got homework, exams, so like kind of juggling all those things too. Like, does that kind of help because it kind of keeps your mind off things? Does it hurt? Like what's that schedule like?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a lot, depending on what classes you have, and quite often I think guys will tell you that they came here to play soccer. Not so much for what you get in the classroom. For me anyway, what I get, my degree was a byproduct of being able to come here and play. So my first focus was always kind of on playing and how I can succeed on the field. And I think, not that the classroom comes second, but you could say that it came second for me anyway.
Yeah, you could say it.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to balance training, games, especially, sometimes, you would travel, spend the night in hotels. Maybe the hotel doesn't have Wi-Fi. Then, you're sending an email Monday morning hoping that the professor's going to believe that you didn't have Wi-Fi. So yeah, just little things like that, you really learn to manage your time well.
Is that like the 2025 version of the dog ate my homework?
Yeah.
I didn't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're like, you stayed at a Marriott and you didn't have Wi-Fi? I swear.
One of the things I'm curious about is, and I know we met earlier this year at Innovative, and one of the things you told me was that you couldn't play for your college coach, which I didn't know that. So with as good as you are, I would assume that you have played elsewhere over the summers. And I think you mentioned maybe you played in Virginia.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, my freshman year, I was looking to play in the summer, actually. But I pretty much, well, not far off, I tore my MCL.
Ooh.
So I spent not far off the whole spring and summer rehabbing that. So it was something that I was really looking forward to doing, playing in the summer. And it was, again, something that attracted me to coming to America, because you don't get as many games in the fall as you do in a full, September to May season in Europe. So I was like, to fill that gap, I'm definitely going to have to play summer. So my second season in the spring, I was just thinking, right, don't get injured now. Find yourself a team, go in fit. So one of the assistants at LR at the time, Diego Thielen, reached out to a few teams for me, and he ended up connecting me with Lionsbridge FC in USL 2, where I was for the past 2 summer seasons before I came to Hickory FC. We had some good success there. We made the USL 2 final my first year there, which was amazing. We had an incredible run to get that point. Unfortunately, we didn't end up winning it, but I think it was a good experience the whole summer, and it put me in a good stance for this summer with Hickory FC and going all the way and going that extra distance and actually winning the championship. And then I spent my sophomore, junior, third year. I still can't remember. Freshman, sophomore, junior. Spent my junior year there as well in the summer, which I think we made the final 8. So we not as good of a run. I didn't end up playing as much as probably that I would have liked to that season. And then, like I say, you can't play for your college coach. So going into my senior year, it was always something that was in the back of my head. I'd been following Hickory FC in their first season. I came out to the first game before I actually went. I went to Virginia to play, and I thought, wow, I didn't realize that there was such a soccer community in Hickory. I didn't realize the outreach would be as much, especially for the first game. I thought maybe that it would build a bit more over time, but it was really cool to see so many fans in Moretz there for something other than an American football game.
Yeah, on a rainy night, I think both of the officially first game of the first season was rainy, and first game of this season was rainy as well. So it's really cool to hear that the wealth of experience that you've had, that you've brought to Hickory. I don't know if Hickory fans will remember this. I certainly didn't. It was a shock to me that you played for, I guess now our official heated rivalry, that you actually played for App FC.
Yeah, I did. I just sport the yellow, the yellow for a game.
Briefly, guys, briefly.
Yeah, so that opportunity actually came up through Dale Parker, great guy, Apps head coach. He reached out to Carlos, and then Carlos just basically forwarded, the message that they were interested in just having me for the Open Cup. You actually can't play a lot of players who get you to the Open Cup in the Open Cup, because whilst you're still playing in college, you're ineligible to play.
Okay.
So, yeah, so Dale reached out. He was actually used to be the head coach of Lincoln Memorial in the SAC, in the conference that Lenore Ryan plays. So I'd kind of known before that he rated me as a player, and I've kind of known him before a little bit, so I had no problem with going there. At which point I had already decided that I was going to play for Hickory in the summer. So I'm apologising after playing to the Hickory fans.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that a few weeks ago, and it was something I didn't know about, college players not being able to play, and it really got me thinking about we always talk about how a lot of these lower league teams, the NPSL and USL League 2 teams, they just never get far. But then when you learn that fact, it makes me wonder what the actual potential is. I mean, we always see El Farolito making these deep runs, and everyone's always super impressed. Not downplaying it by any means, but when you consider those are all non-college player working dudes who can keep playing. They play in their regular season where they do really well, but also play in the U.S. Open Cup. But then the NPSL teams like Hickory, who have these really dominant, great teams, are we really seeing their true potential in the U.S. Open Cup? So it was really interesting to learn that. But kind of piggybacking off of that and the difficulties of creating these teams, when you get that opportunity, what does that time frame look like? Because in my head, I imagine hey, we have a game next week. We're playing in the cup. We're gonna have 2 practices. But in reality, what was that like?
Yeah, right. I completely agree with you know, how you say, maybe you don't see so much success from these teams who get the opportunity to play in the Open Cup from the NPSL, from USL2, because you are, you know, you're chucking a load of guys together sort of last minute. You know, I think with App we trained two or three times. It's kind of like get to know each other's names as quick as you can. This is how we're going to play. You can't go too in depth with what you're going to do tactically, because you just don't have the time. So yeah, you're thrown together. You have a game plan, and it's just kind of like see what happens on the night, see what you can do. But it was a great experience. It was a pretty close game. We lost 3-0, but I would say the scoreline didn't reflect kind of how the game went. It was a close game, which I actually hit the post with my right foot from a fair distance out. So
yeah, he was showing us right before we started here. He goalkeeper came off his line, and Harry just ripped a bomb from like 40 yards out and was inches away from making it. And at that point, it was only 1-0, so that would have tied it up. So it's definitely close. But kind of talking about the downsides to it, but at the same time, it does stink not being able to play half your players. But at the same time, there's got to be like some sort of benefit too, you know, like what kind of doors does it open, especially like kind of being one of those players that it opened, like those kind of higher tier players where you have this opportunity to play in a competition where you could have potential to play better teams. Like, does that open doors for teams for better players, or what's that look like?
yeah, I would say first of all it's televised, or you know, it's live on YouTube. You have a lot of people watching. I think they do a good job of giving it a lot of good coverage on social media. You know, if you, and of course, naturally, if you're not a pro already, or if you're looking to be a pro, you're not going to be playing for the professional teams. So I think to be able to get that coverage as someone who's not quite there yet, and if you do actually have a cup upset or a cup set, then you know you're even more so. There's gonna be more eyes on you, especially, you know, in the second round. People might watch the first game, but oh, let me have a look, see if any of these teams have anyone who's worth looking at. So I think it's a great opportunity for guys in their senior year who would like to play, albeit you haven't played since November, December, which is, you know, one of the big reasons I played. I was bursting to, you know, get back onto the pitch again. So yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for guys, especially, you know, seniors who are graduating.
Mm-hmm.
So with playing at Lionsbridge, you already mentioned that you were following Hickory's first year. What was it like watching their first year? Was it like you were super excited to make that transition down here? Was it just like a natural thing since you were already at LR, so you're already playing for Carlos? What was it like watching the first year?
Yeah, I mean, I knew a few guys playing. A good friend, Carles Montolio Lobo, and Ivan Rubio. So I wanted to keep an eye on how those guys were doing first and foremost, and then just, you know, see how the team was doing, see how the soccer was going in Hickory. Essentially, see how the fan base kept growing game by game. It was really cool to watch. You know, likewise with this year, and I think that's something that's only gonna keep growing. But yeah, it wasn't something that was, I would say, in my head too much at that point to play for Hickory following my senior year, because I didn't really think that far ahead at that point. But it was cool to watch it and keep up with how the team was doing.
Was there a moment that you can like pinpoint and say that made your decision to play for Hickory?
Yeah, so the moment I signed for, or I said that I was going to play for Hickory, was actually early January, no, maybe late December. So I had a trial with Independence in Charlotte, and I ended up hearing back from them. They weren't interested, so I didn't end up playing for them or signing with them. And I was telling Carlos over the phone, you know, just texting him, letting him know how my Christmas was going, and that didn't really work out for me. And he'd already, been in my ear a little bit about me coming to play for Hickory FC, and he sent me a picture of the fans, a big picture of the fans section, just with a question mark. And I think I replied, within 2 minutes. I said, "Yeah, I'm in." So it didn't take much persuading.
Well, I think that kind of answers the next question. Is like with Lions. I know Lionsbridge has similar fan bases, and you get the same number of fans.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of answers my question: is if you're playing in front of that many fans, that's got to entice you to want to play there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great way to recruit players because a lot of players haven't played in front of 5, 6, 7,000 fans. I hadn't before I played with Lionsbridge FC. We had 5,000, 6,000 weekly at home games, and similar with Hickory FC. And I definitely knew that whatever team that I was going to go to play in the summer next season, following the season before I came to Hickory, I wanted to be somewhere where there's a lot of fans, because it's just an awesome feeling to go out and play in front of so many people, represent so many people. It's just a completely different atmosphere, especially to college. Naturally, in college, you don't have so many fans come. Awkward game times, a lot of midweek games. So I just knew it was something I wanted to be in front of a lot of fans again, and I'm really happy that I was, because the fans this season were amazing.
Well, we're really happy you were too.
Yeah.
And this is why I keep harping about it. And we keep talking about it, but and that's one of the things that I think it sounds super cheesy, but it's like what's magical about these small teams and these small successful teams is people say the fans make a difference, you're part of the team, but when we have evidence of that, where it's showing the players playing harder from the support, players wanting to come here because of you guys, it's really cool to know you truly are a part of the team, and we are what makes the difference. So it's really cool to be a part of that. Now, kind of going back to talking about and comparing the two teams, I'm always interested in kind of nuances and little things, but coming from Lionsbridge to here, besides the great fan base and the attendance, was there any other differences between the clubs, whether it was how they played, the fans interacting, things like that? What are kind of little differences between them?
Yeah, I would say maybe we prepared in a different way with Hickory FC versus Lionsbridge. We did a little bit more film, a little bit more analysis of ourselves, just in terms of getting the guys together and looking at it on the TV. We trained a little bit more. We had a few more training sessions, and yeah, there was not too many differences, but there's quite a few similarities. Great fans, great host families. Big shout out to all the host families with Hickory FC, because I think it doesn't get so mentioned so much as the fans, but these host families are the people who first of all helped a lot of the guys feel at home, feel welcomed into the area, and just set them up basically for feeling at home for the rest of the season, and for getting their foot in the door in the beginning. But I would say another similarity would be how engaged in the community both teams are, or the teams that I've played with have been. I think it's really important, so that when these kids are coming to the games, they know the players, that they have someone to support, they have someone they want to cheer for, because you've been engaged with them in the community. And it helps us, and I'm sure people have a great time coming to the game, so everyone's getting something out of it. So I think it's just amazing that there's so much community engagement with a lot of the teams across the summer leagues.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you bring that up, because that's something we had talked to Jonathan about, and that was so important to them, was the relationships in the community. And you brought up a really interesting point, just almost personal relationships with fans, because it means so much more to them. And you can see it when the kids are asking for your autographs, and I'm sure you've seen it, but we'll be walking around the stadium, and the kids are like, "Oh, I saw this guy. I saw him. I talked to him. Oh, he trains me. I do practices with him." And it's so much more personal, and it means so much more. And going back to the good attendances, maybe that is one of the keys to success, just being so personable and having those relationships and making it something so much more. So again, not to keep circling back, but that's what I love about this stuff. It's so cool, it is what is so like cool about minor league sports.
And not just kids, but like grown kids. Because I know when I was
the Gavins too.
When I was standing there waiting for the autographs finally at the last I think regular season home game, I mean, I felt like I was a kid standing there with my dad waiting for autographs. And like when they would come up, I mean, you knew, I guess, with us doing this, you knew who we were. So it's like, oh my God, they know me. They know me.
No, right, and I mean, yeah, it's really nice for the fans to know the players, but also it's nice for the players to know the fans. Like you can, go and clap the fans at the end or just sign autographs, but you want to speak to people. You want to, it's more engaging for both people. Then both parties are really getting more out of this game than just soccer. You're building relationships. You really are being engaged in the community, and it's real, which I think is really a nice thing to have.
That's very important. I agree with you 100%. So we've talked about all that. Now let's talk about the season that was the most magical season I think we could possibly have here, because I mean, what a ride it was from the very beginning until the very end. So of course, we know the second season was remarkable in its own right. You got to be, and this is your first season playing for Hickory, and that's insane to think. But with so many memorable moments, from your perspective, what was your most memorable moment? I think I know what mine is for you, but hearing from you, what was your most memorable?
Yeah, I think it would have to be the assist, which I think we're probably thinking of the same thing. The assist in the national final. Yeah, that was something really special and something I'll never forget. The feeling in that moment was just something I've not had before, and somehow compelled me to take my top off again. But yeah, those celebrations were awesome, and yeah, it's just there's no feeling like that.
And I think we haven't talked about this enough, but that was a crazy assist, man. Like, I remember watching it back a few times, but you were like off the break, full speed, like putting a ball like that. You were like, I mean, you may say you were just jogging, but it looked like you were running full speed, and to hit that first time, I don't think you took a touch beforehand, and to put it on his feet like that was like crazy. Like, walk us through that play.
Yeah, I mean, good job, because it ended up mattering a bit more than I thought it would at the time when Tommy scored. And he was like, oh, 3-1, we've won the game. Oh, 3-2. Oh, good. After you think, oh, good job I made the run and actually put that extra bit of effort in. I mean, in the last sort of few games of the season after I got sent off, I didn't feature as much. And when you're coming in off the bench, then, I knew I've got a new role in the team, and, you just have to give everything you can, whether it's 30 seconds, whether it's 5 minutes. So kind of the perspective I have coming on then off the bench is, what can I do to make an impact on the game? So, yeah, and going to the goal, the assist. So I think he tried to play it over my head. I just jumped up, head the ball to Lucho. And then I think I kind of looked up and I could just see Lucho by himself, and normally I probably wouldn't go in the within the context of the game. And I think if you ask Carlos now, or if you asked him at that moment, I think he probably would have wanted me to stay back as well. But I was kind of like, nah, I'm going. I'm going. So then I kept on going. Lucho I was like, he's taking a bit long to pass the ball back to me here. Like, just slip it around the side, but he ended up putting a perfect pass over the guy's head, and I just got my head up, and I could see Tommy like here, and I could see the other guy just tracking a little bit behind him, and I was like thinking, oh, can I curl it around on the one? So I just tried to I just trusted myself really, and just thought, just try and get it to Tommy, and then he did the rest from there. I think it would have been easier if he went forward and took it on his right foot. But yeah, he decided to cut back, put it on his left, and yeah, I mean, euphoria after that goal. What a moment.
I agree with you. We don't talk about that as like we talked to Tommy at length about that goal, but that entire sequence of you heading it to Lucho over the top, and I mean you put it on an absolute dime for Tommy, and we don't acknowledge the assist enough, but it was. I don't know how you describe that as just the pass. It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah. I think the best way to like think about it too is like I love watching those videos where they have like random strangers try to kick a soccer ball, and they're like completely stoic environment. It's like people can't even like do that, let alone the fact you've been like running. I mean, you came off the bench, but you're still running. You're tired. You're sprinting full speed and just one-timing it, and you got to get it in the perfect spot because like too far up, the goalie's gonna get it. Too far back, the defender's taking it. It was a great pass. It was incredible.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's probably worth noting as well is that that's all 3 substitutions who made that play. So I came on as a sub, Lucho came on as a sub, and Tommy came on as a sub. And I think that just kind of sums up Hickory as a team and the whole season, that we needed everyone, and everyone was bought in. And also, credit to the coaching staff for making those subs at the times that they made those subs, because it obviously worked and, ended up winning us the game. But yeah, I think that's also something that people forget, is that we all just came on for the last 15, 20, whatever it was. So yeah, I think that was really cool that it was all 3 subs that contributed to that final goal.
It's wild to think that there's so many, like the goal, it did what it did and solidified the win, but like there's so many details and nuances to the game. 3 subs, super subs, a perfect assist, a perfect pass from Luke. Like, it's just wild. Another thing I think might be a good moment to the year is, since you played for him, is beating. It's got to be beating App 3 times on the spin.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's been spoken about a lot, but I think to have 2 such tightly contested games, and for one team to come out on top 1-0 3 times in a row is almost unheard of. I mean, like I say, last year it was kind of the opposite way around, and like Tommy said, him and Martin were stressing about that a little bit, whereas I'd not been through that, so I didn't really have that in my head. But still, just playing football for so long, you know that it's so rare for that to happen, especially 1-0.
Yeah, and then
I'm so sorry, Harry.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know, 10 minutes left.
Oh, 10 minutes?
Yeah. I tried to cut it earlier, but y'all were just... it has been smooth.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know, if you guys want to refine the questions.
Okay.
Only 10 minutes.
I know, right?
Dude, you got, that was just a
No,
smooth transition.
These have all been like really good. It's very like.
So do you want to do the dinners and the ripped apart thing?
Yeah, I feel like we
then-
have to.
And then just skip down to like looking ahead or the fan section.
For sure. Got to do fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
The fans ones go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do that.
We'll take this one out. So we'll do chemistry between the players, fans playing in Moretz, and then looking forward.
Yep.
Can we squeeze that in 10 minutes?
I mean, you guys are pretty good at it. So
Okay.
I think you got it.
Cool.
Don't stress it. Don't rush it. Let it come naturally.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it won't take that long.
That's all right. We'll
Okay,
just
so
cut
we're
the
gonna
episode
do
like
the-
mid-sentence. He's like, I just want to thank all the.
I just want to thank all the fans, and I got to be honest.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
we're doing
so I can-
And then,
I'll ask.
chemistry. You can do both of a lot of the guys are actually, I guess. Here, you do that part, and then
Oh, it's
do
still
the-
recording. All
Okay,
right. Let's,
do that, and then do the segue, and then I'll ask, how does it feel being in front of the crowd?
all right. All right. Yeah. So we've talked to a lot of the other guys about it, and I keep harping on this, but I think it's so important. But tell us what the chemistry between the players, and you guys all had great friendships. What did that mean to you as a player, and how did it affect your playing?
I think it's something that develops so naturally throughout the course of the season. I don't think it took long at all for all of the guys to click and bond. We were always making jokes, always laughing. And I think, one of the great things was that most of us lived together. So you're spending so much time with you're in this bubble for the whole summer where it kind of doesn't seem like there's anyone else around. It's just you and the team the whole time. You're eating together, you're going to the gym together, you're going out to the cinema together. So I think spending so much time with each other off the pitch ultimately helped us on the pitch.
Yeah, and now living together. I mean, kind of segue, but who's cooking dinner in the dorms?
Who's
here?
cooking dinner? Me, Jaheim, Maxime, also known as Waleed, and Charlie. We rotated nights of cooking. You know, there was some good meals had. There was some absolute stinkers, and I'll give you one. So Maxime cooked fish. It's like fish sticks with this like weird white cold sauce. Like it was horrible.
I feel like I saw him look to the camera there. I feel like he was talking to his soul there. He's like, "You remember those stinky fish sticks?"
The fish sticks weren't terrible, but I mean, I think Maxime, you're gonna have to go down as the worst cook out of the four of us, followed by Charlie, and then we'll go Jet, and then I'll put myself at the top.
Now, and then another thing, I don't know if we've directly talked to the players about it, but we talk about the highest of the highs and the chemistry, and then I don't know if a lot of people know, but right after that game, half the team split and went home, and it's like, how does that, like, how is dealing with that with these guys you spent so much time with, and you've just hit the highest of highs, and like an hour later, it's like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a breakup. It feels like a breakup. I mean, we had a few guys leave us from California to go to their respective colleges or go back home before they go back to college. But I mean, and most of the fans will know that we drove the bus back to the stadium and everyone was there to greet us, which was amazing. Massive thank you for that, by the way. That was a really cool experience to come home to everyone. But yeah, shortly after that, we kind of said our few last words to each other, a few hugs and goodbye and our goodbyes, a few tears along the way, myself included, and Maxime. Maxime was probably the one that stands out. He was bawling his eyes out, but bless him.
You're just throwing him under the bus right now. But yeah, kind of going back to what you were saying about the fans, but it's another thing we always hear from the players, like the passionate fans. But tell us again, as a Lenore Ryan Hickory native, we'll say, what's it like? What is it like playing in front of these fans at Moretz?
Yeah, I mean, the word 12th man can get overused, but I really think that you guys, the fans, everyone, was our 12th man this season, especially in the games where it really mattered. For the conference final. I mean, the energy in the stadium that night was just ridiculous. You know, it's such an amazing atmosphere to play in, and I don't think, some fans might not realise, but as a player coming into that environment, it's not nice. Going into a stadium where there's 6,000 people rooting for the other team. And rooting for you to do bad as well, and cheering every time you do something bad. So I think, if you haven't played the game, you might not realise how much of an impact that has on us to propel us, but also, it's not good for the other team, which is good for us. So.
Well, that night will live forever, and especially will live with me forever. We're getting told by our man Lenny again, as we always do. We always run up to the time, so we're getting told to wrap up. But before we do, Harri Rowe, what's next? What's going forward? What's next going forward for Harri Rowe?
Next for me, I'm staying involved with football at the moment. Alongside Tommy, I'm volunteering, coaching at LR with Carlos, Jorge, Will, and Tommy. So staying involved like that. Just trying to keep in shape at the moment. I'm playing any time I can. I jump in practice sometimes. Just to see if any opportunities come my way. I'm not particularly looking for anything at the moment. My goal is to play next summer, play for Hickory FC next summer. So I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait to be out in front of the fans again. Yeah, so...
Well, can't wait to watch you next summer. I know we've been working on getting you on for a while now, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And, you know, I remember watching the first game against Mint Hill and thinking how we lost our whole team from last year. And I remember watching you specifically and thinking, we're good.
Yeah.
We're all right.
Yeah.
We'll be all right this year. And your assist, I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone back and watched it, but that whole sequence in your assist will live. It sounds so cheesy and corny to say. I know it does, but
Will live in eternity.
It will. It absolutely will. And I appreciate you for that assist.
Yeah.
Among everything else, but
You've been a huge part of what's made this club special, the crowning moment of this season, and probably a big part of the history. So we thank you for that. Appreciate you coming on talking to us. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of fans, but we can't wait to see what's next for you. Hopefully suiting up in red and black again next year.
And I'd just like to give another massive thank you to all of the fans, not from just myself, but from the whole team, from the coaching staff. You know, you don't realise how much of an impact you have on us as players, and you know how fun it is to play in front of all of you, and just how cool of an atmosphere that you guys create in Moret. So a massive thank you to everyone who comes out to the games and supports.
absolutely. Thanks to all the fans. And before Lenny tells me to shut up more, I got to thank all of our sponsors. I got to thank Lenny. I got to thank Chris. I got to thank Jeremy. I got to thank Jay. Thank you for joining us with Harry on this episode, where, of course, we chronicle Hickory FC's season match by match, trophy by trophy. And with that, I think we can all say, up the trees.
Up the trees.
Oh, the trees.